Hey everyone, it is Isimemen Joby here, business and career growth strategist and founder of Fulfilled, the premier transformational career coaching program for Black women and women of color who want to land their dream jobs, skyrocket their salaries, and live rich, fulfilling lives. Now, I have a guest here today who is just phenomenal. This woman, y'all, did not give up, and she has a story to tell. So I am here with JaMesa Dixon. Hey, JaMesa, how are you?
Hi everyone.
JaMesa, I'm so excited to have you on today because one thing I can say about you is you are tenacious and you are really going to share your journey around landing your dream job. And it wasn't something that was so pretty and so easy. It was a journey, but I know that someone is going to be encouraged by what is possible after hearing about you and your work. So I'm excited. Are you ready to get into it?
Yeah, let's get started.
All right, so Jamisa, just give us a little bit of background. Before you came into this title, what was your title? What line of work were you in? And how many years of experience do you have?
So when I entered Fulfilled, I was an accountant too. So I was in the accounting and finance space in academic medicine, specifically higher education. So I worked on the student side.
There's
So that's what I
Mm,
five
was doing.
five people you need to have in your life if you're a
sorry,
business
let's
owner in
start that again.
2020.
I don't know.
Let's go.
Something happened on my
Number
computer.
one, you need
Okay, sorry, can you answer that question again for me, Jamisa?
Absolutely. So when I started Fulfilled, I was an accountant. And so I was in the accounting and finance space in academic medicine, specifically higher education. So I worked in student services.
Okay. And how many years were you in the accounting field?
Up until that point, it had been about 3.5 years.
Really, from graduating from undergrad or your master's?
Oh, from my master's. From my
Okay.
master's.
Did you have some work experience before your master's?
Yes. So the funny thing is that I worked at the same company in the same department for
mm,
so up until that point, it had been like 8 years. So
Okay.
I started off as an office assistant.
Uh-huh.
Then I
Wow.
did some education coordinating stuff. Then I went back and got my master's, and then I switched over to the accounting and finance space.
Oh man. Okay. So you've been on a journey. So Jamisa, tell us before what brought you to Fulfilled? How were you feeling in your career and in your life?
So I'll have to thank the Lord in the pandemic, actually,
Mm,
because you know, everything slowed down. I wasn't just operating in, survival mode or like just a zombie. I actually had time to think and I was like, man, okay, where do I want to go next in my career? Because I think like the day before we were told not to come back to the office, I had got a promotion.
mm,
It's crazy. And so and so I was like, okay, what do I want to do next? Right. So I started thinking about that. And that was in from 2020 to about 2021. I thought about what do I want to do next?
yeah, good.
And I started throwing things out, and I guess I wasn't sure because our manager was like, "Well, when you figure it out, like we'll talk about
Let me know.
it."
But what
So I
showed, what told you it was time to make a shift? Like, were you unhappy? Were you just feeling unfulfilled? Were you feeling like this is not, I'm not on the right track? What was it for you?
so I was on my way to hitting the thing I wanted in 2018. And I was like, okay, I'm very close to achieving that goal. So is it really what I want to do?
Mm,
And because sometimes you get focused on a goal so much, you don't think about the things that are unorthodox or outside the box.
right.
And so I was like, man, what can I do? I was like, I don't want to lose these other skills I have. I
Mm,
like doing this, but is this like I just was like, this is not enough anymore, you know? Like I can
mhm,
do this I got to the point I'm like, I can do this in my sleep.
mm,
There are things that I do need to stretch and grow, but I'm like, but am I even interested in that? And so that's kind of where I was. And that started me on a journey. I'm like, well, I don't know how to get from point A to point B. I don't even know where I'm going. And I didn't even know career. I knew executive coaching, but I didn't know career coaching was a thing.
Mm,
And so there's that.
okay.
But
Okay.
yeah.
So could you say, JaMesa, you were bored?
Yeah. And I get bored easily. My former manager was like, "You get bored easily, don't you?" I'm like, "Yes, I do. I like to be challenged in my work. And I like
Yeah.
to learn new things." And
Okay.
so I was at a point where it's like, if I'm not improving something, then I'm like, okay.
Why am I here? So
Pretty
JaMesa,
much.
we run into each other online, you find our work, and we have a conversation. And you decide it's time to step into the field. And it wasn't an easy conversation for you. You
No, it was
decided to
not.
invest at this high level and you decided to come in. What was the deciding factor for you to say, yes, I need to join?
So I have to thank another group that led me to you, uh, Jania Udo. So she's like, I have a friend and I really think that you can benefit, because at this point I had started kind of shopping around and unlearning what this career coaching thing and going to different places. Is this right for me? I'm like, something's not right with this. And then she was like, no, like she's the bomb. And I think you were doing your like 7-day challenge or something like that. And I went there and I was like, this is what's missing, like this faith piece. I'm like, and I was like, she gets me. She doesn't even know me. And I was like, I'm gonna do this call. And we had that first conversation, and I was like, I don't know about this. And I think for me, I can be very practical, but the deciding factor was like, I need this is a faith move. And I was like, Lord, I have never invested in myself in this way, but
Yeah.
I feel like it's something on the other side. Like, will you help me just do this? And I think what I contacted you like a couple of days later, and I was like, okay, let's do it.
And it was go time.
Yeah.
So you came into Fulfilled and the journey begins. What was your favorite part of being a part of Fulfilled? What was your favorite part?
I think the most critical thing that opened my mind was the mindset module.
Yep.
The mindset, like that's the first thing you do. And
Yep.
I was like, what? Like I've never like connected the dots like this before. And I've
Mm,
been in therapy, right? So I was
yep.
like,
Yep.
what? Like all this is tied together, like how I feel about money can be tied about how I feel about myself, and
Yep.
like why I'm stagnant in my career or not forming strong relationships, like all around mindset. And I think, I mean, that was the catalyst of like, I made like, Lord, did I just make the best decision of my life in this season? Like, that's what I was thinking. And then, secondly, the cohort and building the camaraderie with the other women who were in the program. Um, some relationships I still have today, which I'm really grateful for. Even if it's a check-in or we're rooting for each other, like it didn't stop because we graduated from the program. Like we still support each other and all that stuff.
Come on. I love it. Jimmy says, so you come into the program, and of course, you're getting the support from our team, you're getting support from your cohort, and then your mindset is changing. At what point did you realize that you wanted to become a Scrum Master?
I think I was on the journey prior learning about it,
Okay.
but I think the like doing the clarity, the golden triangle, like pulling all that off. And if you remember, I know it's been a while, but like thinking that hard, like I was physically fatigued because I had never stretched myself mentally like that.
Wow. Yeah.
I remember coming to a call, I was like, EC, I am tired,
My brain
physically
is on
tired.
fire.
Trying to pull all this stuff together. And I found there were many roles in that, but because the through line was the same, I identified multiple roles. But like the Scrum Master one was the one that called to me the most. Um, So yeah, like doing the clarity, like getting the clarity and like that hypothesis of a vision statement. Um, and I was like, okay, like I can like this vision statement, I can do anything. And for the time being, this is where I want to go. So yeah, that's pretty much what led me to Scrum Master. Like it just kind of like, am I sure, or is this because at first I was like, is this because everybody else is doing it, or this is something I really want to do? Because once I stumbled upon it, I was like, this is how I think. I would love to. I didn't know this was a career. I would love to do this. And then the clarity helped like solidify. Okay, this is it.
And I love, JaMesa, that you found a role that you really enjoy. Because you talked about being bored easily. You found something you really love, but here's the kicker. Everybody and their mama takes a Scrum Master test, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody has Scrum Master in their LinkedIn bios. So you really had to make yourself stand out. Can you talk to us about how Fulfilled equipped you to begin to pave this new path in this new career, meeting new people, having conversations? Can you talk us through that?
Yeah. So another thing I think I've become really skilled at is network. Like, and this is before LinkedIn made all the changes, which I'm like, there are a bunch of haters, but that's neither here nor there. Um,
Oh,
just like messaging people, like you giving us the resources to know how to do that without being a creep. And like getting comfortable with rejection because some people are gonna leave you on red, some people never see it, and some people will decline. And then
yeah.
there were people that would actually take the time to do the like coffee chats and things like that. And from there, like getting into doing the research, to get into communities of practice. Like I remember you like, girl, you better go on Reddit or you better go here. And I remember I did, as soon as we got the call, I did that and I found my
Mm.
first agile community of practice.
See?
Like it was a Reddit
Listen.
post and then there's a link to a Discord and like the best thing ever. Like, and then I joined subsequently joined other groups on Slack, Discord, and anywhere I can find it. Like I just want to immerse myself in that world. Um, Found programs that would teach me like the why behind it, not just like the Scrum framework, but why agility, why product development, flow, like all the things, the components in like software and product development, and the things that you could do outside of that as well. So yeah,
So
I say networking.
yeah, you became a networker.
Yeah,
And the thing that happened to you, JaMesa, is your journey, it started to take a while to really switch
yeah,
into this role. So you journeyed and did the work even after you graduated. And even through the ups and downs, because there were ups and downs, if you want to talk about that a little bit.
yeah. I just felt like
Okay.
you know, I want to say this for anyone that listens to this. It was never that the investment wasn't worth it, right? Because I became a different person out because of the program.
Mm,
Like there was a shift in my behavior at work
yeah.
in a positive way. Um, Again, the skill of networking. I started talking to people in other departments inside my organization because it's very huge.
Yeah.
Um, like being not afraid to share my ideas or thoughts on things. Like so the investment was always worth it. I think that it was like there were times I'm like, how is it that like I'm putting in this work, I'm having the conversations, and I keep and I'm my resume has gone through this big transformation and like nobody believes me. And
Oh,
like sitting down and having to stop and redo mindset work and then getting out of that mindset work, keep going forward, and then you get the door slammed in your face 10 more times and I'm like, what is it that I'm doing wrong? Like, Lord, what is it that I'm doing wrong? Like I'm doing the things. And then I'd get close and I got valuable feedback through the journey. Like I remember I had 2 interviews post to graduation and both said, well, you need experience. So then I was like, well, how do I get experience? I have experience, but how do I get this specific experience? And I
right.
think by being connected to those communities of practice, I was able to do so. Go ahead.
Oh no, keep going. I'm listening.
Yeah, so I was able to do that, get that experience. And so I took this course through this nonprofit called Agile MBA. And that's why I was saying it tells you about the why behind the agile period. And in there, I was like, hey, how do y'all get experience? And I'm like, oh, it's this program called SVPM Scrum program. You should check it out. Somebody DM me in one of our calls. Check that out. Applied. I was like, I don't care. I will make time for this.
Yes, I love that. You always fought. You had a full-time job. You're like, I'm gonna
Yes.
make time for my dreams.
Yeah. And I had an interview and they were like, we don't take full time. We typically don't accept full time people because of the time commitment. I was like, look here,
Mm.
I want to do this. I will make the time. And I remember at one point, once I was in the program, so I started October of 22.
Okay.
And after that first sprint, they asked me, did I want to be product owner? So you started as a developer. And they were like, hey, like, you want to be the product owner? And I really wanted to be a scrum master, but I was like, you know what? I'll be the product owner because I need to know what it's like to be so I can empathize when they go through things, which it's benefited me now.
Mm.
Actually. So I was a product owner for a year, a little over a year. But I showed up. At one point, I told my, manager and my supervisor, hey, I'm doing this project management stuff on the side. I will get my work done, but we have meetings that are during our work week, like during lunch, maybe sometimes a little bit before lunch. Is that cool with y'all? And they were like, yeah, as long as you get your work done.
That's
Done.
wonderful. So you have that support. And
Yeah.
so you do this for a year, you get this experience, talk about patience while you're still working your original job, and then your new role comes knocking.
Yeah. And before the new role, I pivoted again. So I was
Mm.
like, no, I really need to, because I think I had an interview experience and they were like, well, you're a product owner, but really need some more scrum. And I said, you know what? This this has taught me, like, this organization, I love it. It's taught me a lot, but I really need to get back to what my original goal was, right? And so I found another nonprofit through a connection from this program because the person, her name is Saruchi. She's in multiple agile nonprofits and communities of practice. And this one's focused on like software development. So I was like, I need to work with developers because that's my target, is to work with product development, software development people.
Right, right.
So I was able to be scrum master for that as well. So it was in the middle of
Wow.
my second voyage, as they call them, that I got the interview for the job that I have now. And I've been waiting to tell you how that happened.
Listening. So, okay, wait. So now you've done this work, you've gotten this experience, right? You've gotten these experiences doing these scrum voyages
Mm-hmm.
while you work your full-time job.
Mm-hmm.
And then this,
And work another job on the side. Let's not forget that. I work on Saturdays too. So I work 6 days a week. And I'm doing this, these
you did
things.
not come to play. Tell tell us about this dream role that you got. What happened? How did it come?
So I was on LinkedIn like I normally am. And I came, like, a role popped up because, if you search, it curates like, hey, these jobs might be interesting to you, right? And so I saw the role and I clicked on it and I was like, I looked at it and I was like, I think this is something I can apply for. And so I didn't apply right away. And I said, wait, let me connect with people in the organization first. But I got to do it fast because this point, like, I would see opportunities and they'd be taken down really quickly. So I was like, well, let me, like, put this away. And let me connect with people in the organization like I was taught. So I connected with people like an enterprise agile coach. I think I connected with a recruiter and I connected with, tried to connect with some other people. And the enterprise agile coach connected with me and I was like, oh, thank you so much for connecting with me. I'm honored to be connected with someone with your experience. And I kept it moving. Then I looked at their profile and saw they were the hiring manager for the role.
Oh my goodness.
So what I did was I said, let me apply for this role. I applied, I tweaked my resume, And I submitted, and then I went back to the person. I was like, hi, just wanted to know, I came across your post and saw that you were looking for a scrum master. I applied for the role. I would love the opportunity to speak with you regarding your plans for implementing agile across the company. And the reply was, let me get you scheduled with my recruiter and get you screened, and we'll go from there. Literally. I asked for a coffee chat. He said, let me go ahead and interview you.
And then you did the interviews. You did the interviews.
And I did the interview with the recruiter, and that went really well. And I asked for feedback, and she was like, make sure you touch on these points because you want to make sure you meet the experience criteria. I know you have it. Just talk about it a little bit more. And I thought, I was like, am I going, and I asked the questions pretty much asking whether I go on to the next step. She was like, no, he's eager to talk to you. This is just formality. Like, you're going to talk to him and a couple of more people. I was like, okay. And so after that, the next day I was scheduled to do it was in person. And mind you, this in-person interview while we're starting budget season.
Oh boy.
So we just started budget like 2 days before the interview. So I was like, I'm going to have to like go to this interview and work a little extra to, do my budget piece. So I went in person to the interview. It was the hiring manager and the SVP of product and one of the engineering managers. And they asked me a lot of situational questions. I was able to tie in the experience I had experimenting with Scrum at work, which I did do. The experience I had with the, SVPM and the experience I had with the other nonprofit. So I could be like, finally, I could say, yeah, we're a front. I had 2 front end teams.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, okay. So like, I know what I'm talking about because I finally knew what I was talking about. Like I've seen,
like you actually needed the experience so that you don't go in there and you're unable to answer questions.
Yeah. So, like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, they deal with Tailwind, React, and like all the things. And the product guy, so I could talk about product, right? Because he's like the product manager, product owner, and a senior leader. Yeah. So I was like, well, I can like talk to him because I can speak to product things. Because guess what? I've been a product owner.
And so you were killing it. So that product owner experience you got, which felt like, oh, random, was actually not.
No, it was not.
Because God knows what he's doing.
Like, God is crazy. I was like, Lord, because I remember he asked the question, is it okay for you to have non-stories in a backlog? And I was like, well, it's a backlog. It doesn't have to be stories and da-da-da. And I was like, yeah. So, one of my developers wanted to do a research spike and I put it in the backlog. And he was like, oh, okay, cool.
And you knew what that meant. Yeah. And so you're killing this interview. So much so that the recruiter does a post about you on LinkedIn.
This was I had a third interview with the CTO.
Okay, you had a third interview with the CTO, and that went well.
That was a culture fit. We didn't talk about anything related. So that's when I was like, oh, this is what EC was talking about. This is, this is like, he was like, I just want to get to know you. Yeah. We talked about TV shows. I tried throwing a little bit of agile stuff, but he didn't. He wanted to make sure, he was like, anybody that comes to this organization has to come through me because I have to make sure. He's like, I worked really hard to make this culture and everybody has to be a right fit. And we talked 30 minutes over our interview time.
So you have this beautiful interview and then you get this offer, JaMesa. Mm-hmm. What was it like to get the offer?
So I got the verbal from the recruiter, which led to the post because because she gave me pointers throughout the entire journey. I was like, hey, like, what's the culture? What do I wear? To the interview, like, what is this about? Like, what do I need to, prepare? What points do I? And she was open with that because I've had experiences where the recruiters were kind of like close to the vest. She was very open, like, this is what they're looking for. Focus on this, like, throughout my entire process. And this was a very fast process.
Yeah.
Um, and I think what touched me the most, and I'm trying not to get emotional, but when she told me the range at the beginning of
Process.
the screening. If it's okay if I disclose.
For sure. It's your
Yeah.
money, baby.
So she was like, this role is range between 90 and 135. And the hiring manager decided to do that based on they'll assess the person's experience level and scale it that way. And so she told me I had the offer. And then she was like, yeah, so base is going to be 120 because the hiring manager feels you're intermediate.
Even though you never had an official Scrum title.
You see that I was that like really like it really did something to me. Like I was like, what?
Yeah.
I know
Wow.
I worked hard, but when she told me that, like, because of everything you taught me to believe in myself and trust God,
Mm.
that like the thing I had written on my wall was when we first started the program, I have a sticky note and you asked us how much do you think we're worth now? And it was
Mm.
like 91K. So the
Mm.
work I put in, I had exceeded that.
Mm. Mm. Wow. Wow. And you never held the official title. You did a volunteer program that exposed you, but you never had the official title.
Yeah, never had to paid to do the role, but I did the role where I
Right.
could, anywhere I could.
She and she gave you that offer. She was so happy. She wrote a LinkedIn post about you. She didn't put your name, but she
Yeah,
was like, I've never been this happy to give somebody an offer in my life.
yeah,
This girl networked, this girl connected. She said follow up. Like she was sharing what we talk about in Fulfilled and the way you
yeah,
did it. She's like, this is why I do what I do. I was like, JaMesa, you left an impression on her. I was so happy she had to go write a post about you.
yeah,
That's how unforgettable you were.
yeah. And like everything, it was the first time everything was so natural. I got this role because I was like myself, especially at the end.
Yes. When you did that culture fit
Yeah.
conversation.
And he's the same guy. Like I can go into his office and hey, how you doing? And he said something to me, and I'm not gonna disclose on this call. Like open enough to say that to me. And I'm like, what? This
She,
is crazy.
she,
I have
she,
support. It's not that I never had support, but I have support. And if I'm unsure, I can go to my team, our agile team, and like this is what I'm thinking. And there's someone there, and I have a more experienced scrum master who's a black man, and he's like, I got you. We're gonna do this together. And the support of the agile coach. So it's great. Like I have some minor challenges now, but I'm like, this is what I prayed for. This is what I signed up for. I love this.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Man, so Jamisa, your dreams came true. You invested and fulfilled, and you got back so much more. Your salary
Yeah.
went up to 8,000. Your mindset went through the roof. You are a different woman. I mean, what would you say to anyone who wants to do this program, but they're hesitant?
Take like it faith. Take the leap of faith. If God has called you to do this thing, because we're like outside of the dream world, it's all for his glory, right? Take the leap of faith. live the abundant life that he wants us to live. Like, just do it. Like, fulfilled will truly transform and change your life.
Yeah.
As someone that is a natural skeptic and very practical, like, trust me, do the program.
She said,
Like,
just do it. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that so much. JaMesa, and it was a pleasure. It's been a pleasure because you're in the alumni group now, which
mm-hmm.
our free group. We check in, and I know we check in monthly. And I remember those times where you're like, "Man, I did want to give up, but I kept going." And here
Yeah,
you in a dream role with a company that has a great culture that sees you and honors your gifts and believes you're that girl. Like, what more could you ask for? It's only up from here.
yeah.
Amazing, JaMesa. We will talk soon. We will talk soon. I'm so excited for you. I can't wait to see where you go next, right? Your heights, your levels. Thank you for honoring this program by doing the work, by not giving up. And as a result, now you have a dream role.
Yeah, and I also want to say, like, if it doesn't happen right away, that's okay. Um, BC, if you don't mind me, it took me 2 years
Yeah.
from graduation to now.
Wow.
I mean, some people it happens in the midst, and like God is good, whether it happens in the middle of the program, right after the program, or like 2 years after the program.
Yeah.
It's still worth it.
And you'll never be the same again. Thank you so much, JaMesa. Thank you so much. Blessings on the rest of your journey. I know we'll be in touch. I can't wait to hear about your next level role once you kill it in this role. I know this is just the beginning for you. That's what excites me. I know there's so much more.
And thank you,
You're
and thank
welcome.
the team so much.
Oh, of course, of course. Thank you so much, JaMesa. We'll talk soon.
Okay.